I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
So, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today, too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
ICE Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities. Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
And before we see other in-field footage of ICE agents in Boston going and detaining illegal aliens, especially ones with criminal records that have committed crimes in the U.S. and outside, and before we hear from Tom Homan directly about some things he's foreseen or things he's foretold will happen that are now happening on these day 1, 2, and 3 of the Trump administration, let me introduce myself. It's itsSeanDaniel here. If you enjoy the videos, consider subscribing. To all of you who are subscribed, thank you so much. Now let's see some extra footage from some more ICE raids.
The operation begins before dawn. Agents with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, who asked us to conceal their identities, gearing up at a parking lot in suburban Boston. We're along for the ride.
We don't do large-scale roundups. Every individual that's here today has come to our attention because they've been arrested by a local municipality for a felony or an egregious crime.
So after several hours of waiting, they've just found one of their targets, and we're on the move.
When we arrive, we see an immigrant from the Dominican Republic who ICE says is here illegally and is a convicted sex offender. He tells me he came to the U.S. for a better way of life and denies the charges against him. He's led away in handcuffs.
ICE agents have been watching this particular subject for at least a week.
On this day, it took about 16 ICE agents to arrest 5 immigrants who ICE says are undocumented, have criminal records, and had been released on bail by local jurisdictions instead of being turned over to ICE, each requiring 40 to 80 hours of surveillance beforehand.
Do you have enough resources to do this?
No, we don't. And that's one of the problems that, when jurisdictions don't cooperate with us, we have to go out into the community, which puts our officers at risk.
But these are the waning days of the Biden administration. President-elect Trump won, pledging to do much more, including mass deportations. And after Democratic city and state officials vowed to block Trump's deportation plan, incoming Border Czar Tom Homan is doubling down with this warning.
If they cross that line and knowingly harbor and conceal illegal alien, well, I'm going to seek prosecution.
I am concerned of what a mass deportation would look like for
Attorney Valerie Napier is an immigrant advocate who says calls to her clinic have tripled since Trump was reelected.
What do you say to those people who voted for Donald Trump and wanted a crackdown in the immigration system?
Not everyone is a criminal.
We pressed ICE about its current mission.
There are some who fear that ICE will also arrest, immigrants that are here that may not have criminal records. To that, you say what?
To that, what we are focused on is obviously public safety, national security threats. But then there are those too that have exhausted all legal means. In the end, they've been ordered legally removed from the United States, and we'll go ahead and effect those removal orders.
2 U.S. officials tell NBC News that even before any mass deportation plans, ICE is already facing a budget shortfall of $230 million.
The budget's short on ICE, but yet we hand out money to foreign governments like crazy. But to the department in our government that's trying to enforce immigration rules, no, they don't have enough money. That's absurd. Little thing that also is absurd is the guy who came to the country illegally, who did not respect the rules of our country, our immigration process, and possibly committed other crimes. What is he wearing? A USA shirt to the country he doesn't even respect the laws of. Also, the other thing that the reporter said was that the man hours that the ICE agents have to utilize just to do surveillance on these suspects. Why? Because the local law enforcement is prohibited from working with ICE because of sanctuary city policies. Even if they have these people in their holdings, they've been arrested for something they've done in the city, they have them in holding, they realize that they're an illegal alien, they have a order for removal and they have not been removed or they have not removed themselves, that local law enforcement is not allowed to communicate with ICE. That's bad. So then you have ICE agents who have to do extra work to try to find these people, connect with them, study them, when the local law enforcement might have already have their records, might already have them in custody. Here's an illegal migrant raid that the news might not show you.
Aquí al lado de mi casa, señores. Con migración. Ay, Diosito. Ay, Diosito.
Right in the backyard. But it's not just illegal aliens who are facing ICE raids. It's even immigration attorneys who are possibly working with these illegals to harbor them, help them avoid the law, help them avoid their order for removals. ICE is cracking down on them too, as they're seizing one immigration attorney's office's files in, I believe, where was it? Providence. That's Rhode Island, I think. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, ICE is not messing around. Not just the illegals, but even the immigration attorneys better look out. And to avoid this whole fiasco of being detained, being deported, having that on your record, it looks like illegals are trying to avoid a forced deportation and are just deporting themselves.
And are there a lot of migrants inside the shelter right now trying to go to other locations to avoid ICE?
Sí, se van para otro país, no tienen dinero para arrendar país. Tienen que ir.
What country are they going to? ¿A qué país se van?
Para Colombia, para otro lado, para se le haga más económico. Porque...
So are migrants starting to deport themselves? ¿Hay migrantes que están deportándose a sí mismos?
Sí.
If you guys don't know who that is, that's Nick Shirley. He has done amazing reporting over the past year. It's pretty remarkable, and he's hitting these news stories in his locations about all that's going on with ICE right now. I'll put his link in the description. But how well have these ICE raids been going over the first few days? Let's hear from our main man, Tom Homan.
Let's talk about ICE visiting folks, because when I look at it, I look at the law, people that have final deportation orders, people that are criminal aliens. What would a person have to do to get a visit from ICE?
For it to be in the country illegally, first of all, I mean, there's nothing in the immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the INA. So if you're in the country illegally, ICE can visit you. But right now, as we said repeatedly, and the President Trump's been clear, we're concentrating on the worst first, the public safety threats, the national security threats. And just yesterday, in the last 24 hours, ICE arrested over 308 serious criminals. Some of them were murderers, some of them were rapists, some of them raped a child, some were a sexual assault of a child. So ICE is doing their job, and they're prioritizing just as the president said they would. So the ICE is performing excellent right now out in the field, and they're going to continue every day.
And if you want to see more of Tom Homan going after Chris Cuomo and educating him on the realities of what ICE is doing, check out that video right here. It'll be somewhere on the screen. It's SeanDaniel here. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Maybe it's this one.